Hey, twin, that's my twin. That's my twin. That's my twin.
We just found out we were twins. Isn't that cool?
And I'm your twin brother.
We call this here a little twin.
Twin tapping up a jet ski.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TYTWINZ Twinnin Ain't Easy podcast. I am your host today, Tyid, and as you know, my brother Tyari. He will be joining us sooner than later. Right now, I'm holding it down solo till we get everything situated. Today, we were going to talk about something that comes up a lot. There seems to always be this, like when people meet you, it happens every time. I guess when people hear that I'm a twin, there's that contrast. I think a lot of people think because we're twins, we're just so alike. But honestly, it couldn't be more, we couldn't be more different. And sometimes we're quite the opposite, where you may have a twin, like for me, and I'm gonna raise my hand on some of these just so you guys know how it goes. Now, these characteristics can interchange, but typically they are set between twins. Like, now people think that twins are exactly alike, but it's usually the opposite. And there's almost always a natural balance between the two, always. So one twin might be super outgoing, where the other one is more chill, more reserved, more laid back. And then you'll have, one twin like myself will be the risk taker. Then you'll have the other twin who is a little bit more analytical, a little bit more calculated. Like for me, I'm like into new ideas. I might look into getting a new job, or I've been married for 18 years, so this doesn't apply, but also like jumping into new relationships, where my brother, he's just more analytical. He likes to break things down and take things step by step sometimes. But like I said, that's something that can interchange between the two of us, but commonly I would say that belongs to Tyari for sure. One twin might be real chill, have a real chill vibe, go with the flow. Meanwhile, the other one is more of a planner, more of a perfectionist. I would say I'm more of the chill vibe, and Ari is probably more of a perfectionist. Some of those things can be interchanged, but typically I'll definitely give that to Tyari. It's not about one of us being right, planning something, or wrong with how we move towards things. It's more about how we're just wired. Even when it comes to things emotionally, like for myself, I'm more expressive, I'm more vocal about how I'm feeling. My brother is more kind of like the strong silent type. He'll kind of keep things in, and he's kind of more, docile when it comes to emotional things like that. One of the beautiful things about that is, even though we're both different in all of those different ways, we bring balance to each other. And it's funny because when I was doing the logo for us, I was gonna do a yin yang symbol, because I'm like, okay, this is perfect, because when I'm high, he's low, when I'm low, he's high, and we kind of just fit each other. A lot of people don't realize that. Even for me, I'm 40 years old, and almost 40, I'm 39, but all I've been getting is like, you talk a lot, you talk a lot, you talk a lot, you talk a lot. I'll get into that in a later episode, but just to be more specific in detail about that, if you see two people, they're identical. Aside from maybe tattoos, which I have a little lifeline here. Well, it was a lifeline with a heart and my wife's name in cursive. Anyway, when you see two items or two people, let's say I'll give you an example, two cars, same color, same make, same model. What do? You got to start looking for some different, how can I tell these two cars apart? Is it the license plate? Does this have is there some scratches on it? You have to kind of go through this process of figuring out exactly how can I differentiate one car from the other. I need to know which car is which. If the battery is faulty on one car, the engine is faulty on the other car, like I need to know before I hop in, I jump in the wrong car or whatever. With identical twins, we have our own personalities. So for me, my identity has always been the talker, because I'm the older twin. I've always felt like it was like my right to kind of introduce us to other people, because when we meet other kids, when you're a kid and you see two twins or two of anybody, let's say a pair of friends or a pair of twins, it's kind of, there's an intimidation a little bit when you're a child. And I'm saying as young as 6 or 7, you might meet a kid and you're like, okay, are they friendly? So I always have kind of been the spokesperson to let people know, like, hello, yeah, we're twins, we look alike, we don't bite, we're cool. Because sometimes if you're too into each other, like if me and Tyari were kids and we're like this with each other, talking to one another, and there's a kid over there and we're just like keeping to ourselves and we're not like opening up to others, we're closing ourselves off. And I knew that at an early age. That's why I've always been the talker. I I always wanted to welcome people in so they don't think that we're going to play favorites between, who we like, who we don't like, and we're accepting of everyone. We've always been that way because we know how it feels. We've always had each other. We've always had someone there. So naturally, we don't like to see people lonely. When we see like an individual by themselves, we're usually like, cool, like, come on. Now, my dad would take us out all the time. Like, he'd take us to the movies, take us to the beach, and he would ask us like, hey, y'all want to go out? And we'd be like, yeah, but like, what are we going to do? Like, we hang around each other all the time. Like we're going to have fun, but it's really not fun for us unless someone else is there because we interact with each other all the time. And that's one of the things, like, if you notice about twins and their parents and friends, there's always a friend, there's always someone, because like the twins are always together, and it's dope because we always have had each other. And you go out or you want to do something, it's like, okay, we're going to the movies, we're doing this fun thing, or going to the beach, or going to an amusement park or something. But if our friends aren't here, it's just going to be us two. That's kind of boring. And think about it, you're with the person all the time. That's that whole dynamic. I don't think a lot of people really realize. I've always been the more outspoken one, and my brother's like more quiet. But when it comes to that contrast, again, one might be the life of the party, which I would say is usually me, but it, like I said, typically me, but it varies, where you might have the other twin where they might be more in the background and be really selective with their circle. So despite this contrast, or maybe even just because of it, twins have this unspoken bond and this unspoken language where I feel like for me, I could speak for me and my brother because that's just how we work, and those differences help us work together. We might be somewhere and he might spot something that I don't see, but then in the same time, I might be feeling something that he's not sensing, and together it kind of makes us sharper. If you're a twin and you understand that, I feel like it took me years to really figure that out when we got older, because a lot of times you might have a friend that's like, hey, look, why is your brother like that? How come he doesn't da-da-da-da? And you might have people that try to get in where they fit in and try to pull you apart because of your differences, but it's like, we have an understanding. And anytime my brother and I have had an argument and we're able to work it out, because I know how he is, he knows how I am. Anytime we experience something where we can't get through it, it's always a different element, and there's always something else that's added that we have to kind of figure out now, because hey, I've been married, now my brother's married, so when he was dating, it was different, but now that he's married, like, things changed a little bit. So we have to understand, like I said, I'm more vocal, I'm more emotional, I'm more out there with my feelings and how I feel, and my brother's kind of like, he likes to keep things kind of on the chill mode and a little bit more silent. So with the new elements that have changed, with him being a father and being a husband, there's a difference in how I have to respond and respect how he operates with stuff, where, like I said, he's more private, I'm more outspoken, I definitely can say that I'm more vulnerable. I could put myself in these vulnerable spaces. Obviously doing this podcast or doing these videos is not something that most people will be comfortable doing, but it's something that I feel after 40 years of not really having any roadmap. So I just want to say, if you're a twin, if you know a twin, if you're raising twins, even if you're close to twins, you'll see this contrast a lot. And it's that push and that pull, that contrast. Instead of trying to make twins the same and treat them like a package deal, you kind of want to respect the differences. And that's kind of where the magic of twins really works and shines. So if you're tuning in and you are a twin, or know a twin, or are just curious about that twin dynamic, don't let the contrast between the two of you be your conflict, because that's your connection. Don't let the contrast between the two of you divide you. Allow it to define you and who you are and your identity as a twin. That's really the real power of twinship. And on the next episode, we're going to talk about twin identity, something that happens a lot. Who's the better twin? Who's the smarter twin? Who's the good twin? Who's the bad twin? And we're going to just dive into that a little bit deeper and kind of give you guys some support on how to handle that. One of the things I noticed I could do right away was, like, if I'm more talkative, people will notice, okay, that's Tyid, not Tyari, because Tyid's the one, he's the talker. Those are some things, kind of subtle things you can do, or not really subtle, but it's something you can do, like, that instantly gives you that recognition. All right, you guys, make sure you subscribe, share this with a twin or a twin parent, and let's keep the conversation going. Share a comment. If you know twins, or if you have interesting stories about twin experiences that you've had in your family, or maybe you're a twin especially, please share your story with us. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to share it on the podcast. We'd love to share it. We'd love to share it. So we'll get back to you guys in the next video. We'll be talking about identity, and that's pretty much it. TYTWINZ, twinning ain't easy.
Hey, twin, that's my twin.
We just found out we were twins. Isn't that cool?
And I'm your twin brother.
We call this here a little twin.
Twin, tapping up a jet ski. Yeah.